Okay, here we go. Here are all the updated question types. You know how many there are? 19. There's 19 question types. If you're not familiar with the test at all and you're used to the TOEFL or the IELTS, this can feel like being in another world, almost like jumping or being thrown into water and learning how to swim. It throws a lot at you right away, different types of questions, and it's very fast-paced. But don't worry, this video goes into each question one by one. It's not going to provide a detailed explanation for tips and techniques and strategies. Those are in some of my other videos. This video is more of an overview, understanding the structure, the time that you're allowed for each question, how many times each question appears on the test, and other basic details that will help you be prepared. The question types on the test fall under 3 different categories: adaptive, speaking and writing, and interactive. Adaptive questions are questions that will adjust based on how well you're answering the question. If you do well, those types of questions become more difficult and challenging, giving you a chance for a higher score. If you're not doing well and you're missing some of the answers, the test will adjust itself down so it becomes easier, giving you a chance to score better. The speaking and writing questions on the test are scored by AI. They check out your complexity, your grammar, your vocal features. This I'll go into detail more in my other videos. Today is just an overview of which questions fall under those categories. The third category is called interactive. These type of questions asks you to elaborate further whether you're writing or whether you're listening. You could be in a conversation that goes back and forth. You could be reading a passage that asks you to identify certain aspects of it as well. Let's go over the 19 different question types now. We'll go through them one by one. There's time codes on the bottom of the video, so if you know them already, skip over that and go to the ones that you need more work on. Here we go. If you don't know me and it's the first time you're seeing me, my name is Lance with DET Study. We have a dedicated practice platform with over 15,000 practice questions and answers. The speaking and writing questions give you instant AI feedback, and you'll see how you've done in grammatical accuracy, lexical sophistication, and more. These resemble the actual parameters on the official Duolingo English Test, so go check it out. All right, let's start with the adaptive questions. Just remember that this adjusts as you adjust, and the level of difficulty will change depending on your performance on the test. Easy way to remember it. The first question type is read and select. Now, read and select. This question asks you, is this a real word in English? You'll need to read the word and decide if it's a real word in English, and you answer by clicking yes or no. Now remember that you only have 5 seconds to answer this question, so you have to think quickly. This affects the literacy and comprehension subscores on the test. Once you click yes or no, the next question will appear. Make sure to click either yes or no because missing responses will be marked incorrect. There could be any number of real words that appear, so don't worry if there are more or fewer real words that appear on the screen. Some of the words may look real, but there'll be minor differences from actual English words. This question will appear between 16 and 18 times on the test. Moving on to the next question type. Fill in the blanks. In this question type, you'll have 20 seconds per sentence that appears on the screen to complete it. This question asks you to complete the sentence with the correct word. You'll read a sentence with one unfinished word, and you'll fill in the blanks to complete the word. Let's take a look at this one. I was just able to catch a glimpse of the president as his motorcade passed. We fill in the letters T, C, H, catch a glimpse of the president's motorcade. Keep in mind, you have 20 seconds, and you'll see your progress bar move across the screen, so you have to also move quickly. It affects the literacy and comprehension scores, subscores on the test. If you feel you typed in the wrong letter, you can hit the backspace or the delete button to go back. A quick tip, read the whole sentence before focusing on the unfinished word. That'll help you with context clues. This question will appear between 6 and 9 times on the test. Moving on. Read and complete. Just like fill in the blanks, this question asks, type the missing letters to complete the text below. Now you're not getting just one sentence, you're getting an entire paragraph on a topic. The power of determination. So read this topic. You'll have 3 minutes to complete this entire paragraph. Again, you can use the backspace or the delete button to go back if you've typed in the incorrect word. the arrow buttons will not work. Try to read as much as possible from the completed portion of the paragraph before you focus on the individual words and missing letters. Remember that the first sentence is usually complete and the last sentence is usually complete. And sometimes some of the missing words that you need to fill in the blanks for will appear in the first or the last sentence. So keep that in mind. Read aloud. In the read aloud question, it asks you to record yourself saying the statement below. You'll have 20 seconds to complete this task. The comprehension and conversation subscores are affected on the test. You'll read a written statement and then you'll speak it aloud into the microphone. And when you're ready, you'll hit the record now. You only have one chance to record. After you're done recording, hit the next button. If you don't hit the next button, it'll automatically go to the next screen. Make sure that you capture your full response when you record. If you have time, make sure you practice the sentence one time out loud before hitting the record button. Look at the punctuation in the sentence to help you pace yourself. For example, if you see a comma, don't forget to pause. Speak loudly at a natural pace. Don't forget to enunciate clearly. Moving on to the next question in the adaptive category. Listen and type. Listen and type asks you to type the statement that you hear. In this task, you'll click this button, and once you hear a person reading a statement, you'll transcribe what you hear in the box to the right. You'll have 3 chances to listen. 3 chances to listen, so you can only click this button 3 times. And you'll have 1 minute to complete this task. This affects the comprehension and the conversation subscores. Type out what you hear on the first listen, and then check your response by replaying the statement to compare what you've written so far. This question type will appear between 6 and 9 times on the test. Okay, quick quiz. What is the name of this question type? The read aloud question. How many seconds are you given to record the sentence? If you like this and you like the content that I'm sharing, don't forget, subscribe, notification, share button. If you subscribe, it helps me. I can grow the channel and make new content. If you hit the notification button, it helps you because you could be updated when new videos come out. And if you share the video, it helps a friend. They can be updated on the Duolingo English Test changes and on other tips, techniques, and strategies. Okay, we're on to the speaking and writing type questions. The first type is speak about the photo. In this question, it asks you to speak about the image below for 90 seconds. If you see up here in the top right corner, you have to speak for a minimum of at least 30 seconds before advancing. And you can speak for a maximum of a minute and 30 seconds. It affects the conversation and the production subscores. The directions and the image will appear for 20 seconds before the recording button actually appears, so you do have some preparation time. And like I said, you need to speak for at least 30 seconds before moving on. This question appears 1 time on the test, so it does have great importance. You have 1 opportunity to record, and you will be able to look at the image as you speak. Try to describe the image to somebody who can't actually see it. That's a great technique. And again, speak at a natural pace and enunciate clearly. Don't panic if you stumble over a word or a phrase. Just keep going and recover. Moving on to the next question type, it's read, then speak. Read, then speak. This question also appears only 1 time on the test, so it does have a lot of value in your total score. It affects the conversation and production subscores. And just like speak about the photo, you have to speak for a minimum of 30 seconds, and you can speak up to a maximum of 1 minute and 30 seconds, so 90 seconds. You are asked to speak about the topic below for 90 seconds. Here is your progress bar that goes across the screen, and you'll see a question appear that says, talk about your favorite restaurant. Something about you. It'll be a topic-based question or a personal-based question, and then there'll be a lot of bullet points below that will help you along. Again, you'll have the 20 seconds to prepare while the instructions and the topic appear, so there is some prep time here. So take some time and think about your answer before the recording starts. You'll still be able to see the question and all the bullet points while you're speaking. Speak naturally, speak clearly, use a combination of simple and complex sentences. Structure and organize your speaking as you're going along. Make sure you've answered all the bullet points here and the components of the question before advancing. Try to speak as long as possible. 90 seconds is ideal. Moving on to the next question type. Listen, then respond. Just like speak about the photo and read, then speak, you have to speak for at least 30 seconds before proceeding, and you have up to 1.5 minutes maximum to speak. It affects the conversation and production subscores. You'll have 20 seconds to prepare, but the only thing that will appear will be the instructions that say speak about the topic for 90 seconds. Once you click this button, you'll have 3 chances to listen, and it'll be a question that's very similar to the read then speak. It could be a personal question or a topic-based question. Once you hit the record button, you no longer have the option of listening anymore. Speak slowly and clearly, put some feeling into your words, and make sure that your speaking is structured and organized. This question appears 2 times on the test. Now the next question type is called write about the photo. This question will appear 3 times on the test. You have 1 minute, and the directions say, write a description about the image below for 1 minute. You'll be able to see the image as you write your response. You can type in the box provided on the right, and you can use your mouse or your trackpad to go back if you've made any errors and correct them. Go beyond simply labeling what you see in the picture, but give description and detail as best as possible in the time given. The directions ask for you to at least write 1 sentence, but try to write more than 1 sentence, as a longer response can demonstrate more of your skills. Moving on to the next question type, this is called the writing sample. And the writing sample comes towards the end of the test, and it asks you to write about the topic below for 5 minutes. You have to write for a minimum of 3 minutes before you can advance and finish, and a maximum of 5 minutes. The question is much more detailed than anything you've seen so far. For example, here it says describe behaviors that are important for success in school. Why are these behaviors important? How would some of these behaviors help you? Use examples from personal experience and observations to explain your perspective. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare your answer once you've seen the instructions and the topic. Practice good writing habits, vary your sentence structure and your word choice. Use logical transitions to express a variety of your thoughts. Check your spelling, grammar, punctuation. This topic will be shared with the recipients of your results, so make sure that you stay on topic and your writing is relevant. Think of it as a short essay. It affects your literacy and your production scores. Moving on to the next question type is the speaking sample, which also shows up at the end of the test. The instructions say, speak about the topic below for 3 minutes. You have to speak for at least 1 minute before advancing and a maximum of 3 minutes. It affects the conversation and the production subscores. You'll have a total of 30 seconds to prepare, so you consider the prompt, read the entire question, and prepare your response. Try not to watch the timer, as the timer may distract you while you're speaking. You'll see it move across the screen. You might get a little nervous if you haven't spoken enough or you're coming to the end. Just be natural. After the first minute, the next button will turn blue, but keep speaking beyond that point. Come to a natural conclusion before finishing and hitting the submit button. Before taking the test, practice with sample questions like this that ask you to speak for 1 to 3 minutes so that you can be prepared for a question like this. Remember that the speaking sample will be sent as a video recording, so the recipients will be able to see you as you speak. Show your best speaking skills and make sure that your response is relevant to the topic. Okay, quick quiz time on the speak about the photo question. What's the minimum amount of time you should speak in order to get a score? On listen and respond, how many times are you allowed to listen to the question before answering? Let's begin the interactive section. We'll start with interactive reading. Now, the interactive reading section has 2 different questions. One is independent and one is academic, and each one has 6 specific question types. The first question type is called complete the sentences. In this task, you'll see a passage with several blank spaces. You need to select a word to complete each sentence. Now, you can complete them in any order. You want to start here, you can go here, you can come back to the beginning. You won't be able to click Next until you've selected a response for each blank. To navigate between sentences, you can use your mouse, your click pad, or the tab button. Read the entire sentence and passage if you can, so that you have context clues to select the best choice. Once you're finished, read the entire passage one more time to make sure you've made the right choices and to double-check your work. You'll have between 7 and 8 minutes to complete the task for all 6 questions, and this falls under the literacy and comprehension subscores. Let's take a look at the next question. Complete the passage. We're looking at the same exact passage. Here it's different, but in the test it'll be the same. So if it's independent, it's going to be the same passage. The task here is to select the best sentence to fill in the passage, and you'll see choices between 4 or 5 choices on the right-hand side for the same passage on the left. If you hover over each one with your mouse, you'll be able to see the context in the passage. Some parts of the sentences will be familiar to you from the Complete the Sentence task. Make sure to read each section thoroughly, especially the new material. If you're undecided, pay special attention to the sentences before and after so that you can see it's a perfect fit. Highlight the answer. For all of these, you'll have the same timer that shows your progress throughout all 6 questions. You'll see a question on the screen like this. What was John doing to save money? And then you'll find and highlight the answer from the passage, and it will automatically fill in the field on the right. If you want to change your answer, simply bring your mouse back over to the left and highlight a different area. Before clicking the next button, be sure that the answer that you have in the box is the one that you want. Be sure to be precise in your answer. You don't want to highlight too much or too little. And don't highlight the whole text, as you will be penalized for that. You'll have 2 separate highlight the answer questions for Reading Interactive. The next question type is called Identify the Idea. This asks to select the idea that is expressed in the passage. You'll select an idea from the list that best expresses and represents what you've read in the passage. Once you select your choice, you click on it, the box and the circle will turn blue. Make sure you read each choice thoroughly, as the answers may be quite close, but you want to find the one that best describes the text. Title the passage. In this task, you'll be asked to select the best title for the passage. You'll be presented with 4 or 5 choices on the right, and you simply need to select which would be the best title for the passage on the left. Again, the circle and the box will turn blue when you've clicked on your choice. Some of the options may look close. Make sure you choose appropriately. We're now on to the interactive listening section. For this section, you'll be presented with 2 question types. The first is called Listen and Respond, and it's a conversation. This falls naturally under comprehension and conversation, and you'll have 4 minutes. Now let me explain. You'll have 2 different conversations, one with a professor, and that'll be for 4 minutes, and then one with a fellow student, and that will be for 4 minutes as well. You have 4 minutes to complete the task. If you see a photo like this, it's a conversation with a professor. If you see a different photo, it's a conversation with a classmate. Before you even see this screen, you'll have a separate screen where you're reading about the situation. And it looks like this. Sometimes the professor or friend will start the conversation. Sometimes it'll be you to start the conversation. And just imagine that you're talking back and forth with a person. If it's you that's starting, you'll want to choose the best option to start the conversation from your choices on the right. And then just select the best response when it's your turn to respond. You'll respond, and then you'll listen to what they say next. Now listen very carefully to the audio clip that comes up on the screen, because you can only listen one time. You can read the earlier parts of the conversation that happened already to help you. Pay attention to the relationship between the speakers. How would 2 students talk to one another? How would a student talk to a professor? Don't worry if you don't always choose the correct response. The test will let you know so that you get the next ones correct. The minute you choose, it will tell you if you're right or what the correct answer was. Pay attention to the correct answer to follow along in the conversation. Try to remember the main ideas of the conversation for the summary task that follows right after this. Each person will speak 4 or 5 times, so the exchanges will go back and forth between 8 and 10 times. Summarize the conversation. Now that you've completed the listen and respond, you want to summarize the conversation you just had in 75 seconds. So we have to think really quick, and you'll see the timer move across the screen. Literacy and production are the subscores. Write a complete paragraph instead of just doing bullet points. You don't have a lot of time, so start right at the facts about the conversation. Who was speaking? What was the conversation about? What was the outcome? What did the professor tell you to do? What did your friend suggest? Go into as much detail as possible with the time that you have, and check the spelling and grammar on your response as well. We're on to interactive writing, and there's one question type that looks like this. This falls under the literacy and production subscores. Interactive writing asks you to write about the topic below for 5 minutes, and then to write a follow-up response for 3 minutes. For step 1, you'll be given a written prompt, and then you'll respond in writing in the field below. For step 1, you'll have 5 minutes. For step 2, you'll be given a follow-up prompt based on your initial response, and then you'll respond in writing for 3 minutes. The directions for step 2 will begin once the second timer appears. You're still able to see the first question and your response while you're writing your follow-up response. Proofread carefully. Don't hit next until you've double-checked all of your work in step 1 and all of your writing in step 2. And use all the time to make sure that your responses are as best as they can be. Write as much as you can, as long as you're using English effectively and it's relevant to the topic. Use your best writing practices: structure, tense, mood, grammar. They're all important in this task. Okay, review. Is this interactive listening or interactive reading? Take a look. In on interactive writing, first you write for 5 minutes. When the second prompt appears, how many minutes are you given to write? Thanks so much for watching. For those that stayed with me, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow. Like, subscribe, and follow. That helps the channel grow, as I've said earlier. Now, if you want to see a really cool video about the 2 best months to get a higher score, just because it falls under these 2 months, check out this video.